yeah, I think we can safely move on to our next review.
Yes, our last and
Well,
least review of the day. Oh, wait. Actually, no, you have something good to talk about.
yes, I have something good to talk about. So, I went back and rewatched one of my favorite movies of all time, and I went from a really tiny image to a huge one.
Oof.
But yeah, I watched.
It's not as easy as I make it look.
No, it isn't. So I watched Star Trek: First Contact, um, and this movie kind of has a special place for me because this was, I believe, this was no, it was this was the first Star Trek movie I went and saw opening day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, all the way back in 1996. Which, yes, I'm dating myself again, Chengus.
Only another year compared to the launch of South Park.
Yes, but so I'll just kind of go briefly over the plot of the movie, and then just kind of talk about my thoughts on it. The movie takes place. It's after the events of Generations, when they're on board the Enterprise E, and they get word that the Borg are about to attack Earth. And so then the Enterprise, they get sent away because Starfleet doesn't want Picard anywhere near the Borg. Because if you watch the TV show, he was assimilated by the Borg, and then the crew rescued him and brought him back. That was the Best of Both Worlds, parts 1 and 2, which this movie's kind of a sequel to that episode in a way. Um,
Right.
and but then Picard says, "Well, we're going to go anyway," and they take out the Borg ship, but uh, another Borg sphere emerges, and I'm not sure if
Uh, what was
the
it, a sphere or a cube?
sphere. Yeah, well, the first ship was a cube, and then it was a
Oh,
sphere.
that's right. The cubes were the regular versions, and then they launched a
Right,
sphere out of it. Okay,
right,
that's right.
yeah. Which was the first time they had ever seen a Borg ship other than the cube. Um, and part of me wonders if them fighting the cube wasn't just like a diversion for because the sphere travels back in time.
Oh yeah, I think that, yeah, I think it was yeah, actually, yeah, was that part of their plan, was to get the cube blown up so that, like, what would have happened if they just managed to march on Earth? Well, now we have to extricate this super durable sphere from inside of our cube. But
Right.
sir, but okay, of course, the Borg don't have conversations because they're a hive mind. But if they did, my, well, get firing. But my queen, if we fire too many times, we'll be immune to our own weapons, and we'll have to change the modularity some more.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so then the sphere goes back in time, and then the Enterprise sees that Earth has been completely assimilated, and they go back and they find out that the Borg have traveled to the year 2063, uh, the day before Zephram Cochrane, the human scientist, built humanity's first warp ship, and was does the maiden voyage, and then the maiden voyage gets spotted by an alien race. Spoilers: it's the Vulcans, and they make and which thus the title of the movie, First Contact.
They said the thing.
Yes. And Zephram Cochrane, who's played by James Cromwell, also says the thing. He says Star Trek. Only time it's ever been used. um, but yeah, so they have to prevent the Borg from stopping First Contact. They destroy the sphere, but then a bunch of Borg beam on board the Enterprise and then start assimilating it. They're basically three different plot lines going on. You've got stuff going on the Enterprise, which is Picard, Worf, and the other Crusher and some of the other Enterprise crew trying to stop the Borg on the Enterprise. Data gets captured by the Borg. Um,
Right.
and
And this continues the plot line from the previous movie where he had the emotion chip implanted as
right.
part of his ongoing quest to become more human.
Yes, and this is the introduction of the Borg Queen, which was kind of a controversial choice. There's some people, some fans of the franchise that don't like the idea of the Borg having a leader, quote unquote, since they're a hive mind. But I kind of like it because it implies that they're like bees. You know, bees have a bees all have a queen. So um,
It also makes it so that you can actually have a conversation with somebody who represents the hive mind.
right, yeah. And the Borg Queen was played by Alice Krieg, and her design was very much inspired by H.R. Giger, who
Mm,
uh, who designed. For those of you who don't know, he was an artist. He designed the xenomorph and Alien. Uh, weirdly sexual, I think, is a good way to describe his artwork.
yes.
um, but and then the C, I guess, well, A minus plot and then B plot, and the B plot is down on Earth with Riker, Geordi, and Troy getting Zephyr Cochrane ready for the warp flight, and that part of it actually really. What I liked about that part was you got to know like Zephyr Cochrane, and you realize, everybody, all the members of the crew just hero worship the guy. They think
Hmm.
he's just because he ushered in this new era of humanity, building this warp ship. And because I mean it's this is basically the origin story of Star Trek. I mean, it's how
Hmm.
you know humanity got into Star Trek, how it all started. And but then you find out Zephyr Cochrane is just he's a drunk and a womanizer, and just he was in it for the money. He's not wasn't really in it for you know to help humanity or anything like that,
Hmm.
uh because the events in this movie are occurring 10 years after World War III. And
Right.
he and of course, and if you think about it, which was a nuclear war and a lot of people died, and so it's just humanity
Yeah.
was in a really bad place.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah. But and then of course I got to mention one other character. Lily was played by Alfred Woodard. She's like Zephyr Cochrane's like partner, and she ends up on the Enterprise when the Borg attacked the site where the ship was. And then they kind of have this weird like there isn't a romance between Picard and Lily, but they were kind of like maybe trying to do that.
Yeah. If the pseudo love interest would be how I might put it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a basic plot of it all. And of course you have I think the real crux of the movie is Picard uh still dealing with a lot of post-traumatic stress from his time with the Borg. Um, and it comes out in the scene with him and Lily where he breaks the display case with the ships, and then he does the line must be drawn here.
This far, no farther.
Yeah, yes, and which to me is just like the ultimate Picard moment. Like I know a lot of people didn't like it because it seemed out of character for him. Because before, whenever he would get angry, it was always measured and
Right.
there was a reason for it. But this was just like completely irate and like out of control, which was a side of Picard I actually kind of like to see, because it's like, oh wow, okay, he is human.
Right. And it's one of those things where um, if you, okay, so in my daily life, I actually don't curse very often. Partially this is because I'm not comfortable with it because I didn't really grow up doing it. partially it's because if you start doing it, you can't turn it off when you do have to really keep a clean mouth. But
Yeah.
the secret benefit is that when I actually do curse, people pay attention.
Yeah.
So, by the same token, if Picard is always measured and under control, you as the viewer know that if Picard is lashing out and angry and irrational about dealing with these Borg and not losing his ship to them, that it's
Yeah.
really affected him deeply.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you can't pull that trick next episode when, uh, you know, those dumbass aliens show up.
Yeah.
We can't make our ship go like this far, no far. Like if he has that reaction to the slow bus aliens, then
Yeah. Yeah. Then yeah, you got a problem. Yeah.
as long as you measure it out, that kind of moment is perfectly fine.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And slight spoiler for season 3 of Picard. So there are scenes in the a few scenes in the movie where Picard hears the voices of the Borg in his head, and it's never explained in the movie how he's able to do that. It's explained in season 3 of Picard. Um, it's a little. Let's just say the Borg left a little gift in his brain.
Oof.
Yeah, after he was assimilated. Yeah. Um, uh, but um, but yeah, the this was this movie was a huge step up after the colossal, not well, not colossal, but the underwhelming underwhelmingness. I don't know if that's a word or not, but just how underwhelming Generations was.
Yeah, and I'll say that I've never heard anybody make a serious case that there was a next generation movie that was better than this one.
No, no. This is easily the best Next Generation movie, and it's hard to find a close second amongst the other three.
Eh, Not Nemesis.
Well, I thought Nemesis was better than a lot of people give it credit for, but it was certainly not that good. Certainly better than, and definitely not Insurrection, which was the follow up to this movie.
Maybe that's the worst one, just because you had to deal with Worf having gynecomastia.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. And Ninja says same with him and doing crude humor. When you really do those types of jokes, it's funnier. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I will say, I thought I hadn't watched this for in a long time, but then I remembered that with a group of friends, we had actually been watching some of the Star Trek movies together, the
Yeah.
original crew,
Yeah.
and one of our group only really knew the series from the original series and the J.J. Abrams movies.
Ah.
So we decided to show him this one.
Huh.
And I'll say that apparently this is not a good jumping on point if you don't know the next generation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
It's like you really didn't know who anybody was or why he should care. Or
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely say watch a few episodes of the Next Generation, and especially the Best of Both Worlds.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, if you want to kind of know what's going on in this movie, but yeah, I mean this. Not
That's really my
only
only criticism I can make of it.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I can't recommend this movie enough. It's again like our first review. This one's on Paramount Plus as well. Um, if you want to give it a watch, yeah, I like I said, not only is it one of my favorites in the franchise, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Um,
Yeah.